everyone. Welcome to Party Like a Marketer, the podcast dedicated to in-depth conversations with cannabis marketers who are breaking down stigma and changing the game of cannabis communications. Today, we're talking to Dirk Price, the Chief Executive Officer and founder of eAccountable, a conversion-focused digital marketing agency, which he grew from an ambitious seed-level startup into a grown-up, globally operating full-service digital advertising agency that serves celebrated brands such as Peter Millar, Waterford Crystal, Cafe Press, and Beretta. Over the past 20 years, Dirk has piloted virtually every touchpoint of eAccountable's operation, including everything from ensuring the success of its team and driving the sustainable growth of its clients, to developing accredited partnerships with household names like Google, Bing, Amazon, Facebook, Yahoo Gemini, Commission Junction, Pepperjam Network, Rakuten, Yotpo, and more. Prior to eAccountable, Mr. Price was the president and founder of NetBlocks, an internet design, programming, and content development firm. Before NetBlocks, Dirk worked as an AVP in the commercial real estate leasing division of Cushman & Wakefield, one of the leading global real estate services firms, staffing more than 45,000 employees across 400 offices in 70 countries. Dirk Price holds a Bachelor's of Arts in History from the University of Missouri and is a member of the Denver Business Journal Leadership Trust and Forbes Agency Council. He also serves the University of Missouri on the Advisory Council of the Department of Communications. Dirk is known for providing an in-person experience to every client served, even if he never gets to visit a client's office. His empirically backed approach, deep expertise, and genuine interest in improving his clients' businesses has consistently yielded triumphs across some of the most competitive segments. Welcome, Dirk, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
Of course. So I met Dirk recently as eAccountable joined Cannabis Marketing Association, and they are a well-known and recognized agency here in Denver, where both of us are headquartered. So for today's podcast, I'd really like to talk a bit about how you started and grew your agency. Many of our listeners are marketers in the cannabis space and those who are starting up their own client-facing service businesses. So I'd like to hear a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some of the nuances of CBD marketing online, which I know is a specialty of yours. So let's start off today with what made you want to start eAccountable. Could you tell us a little bit more about your entrepreneurial experience starting eAccountable in the early days?
I like being my own boss. I mean, I've said in the past, no one would hire me. And so I just made my own jobs. So NetBlocks, I started doing internet development, design, programming in 27 years ago, something like that. 27 years ago. But it's really hard. I really didn't like the web development business as much as I liked the marketing. So I closed that company down, and I worked I was in Dallas and worked for a couple of .coms that soon became .bombs. And so they were the typical, raise a bunch of money, didn't have a clue what they were doing, had a lot of fun. But at the end of a year doing that, I realized all these guys needed help marketing. And so I just basically decided I was going to start my own agency and concentrate on helping people get more traffic. And so I started eAccountable in 2000 with really the express idea to help companies grow. We'd work with all kinds of size companies, small, medium, and large, but just helping companies grow their business. And it's become kind of our passion and kind of key. I think mission's a little bit overused, but it's kind of what we try to do for all of our customers is just help them grow their businesses. That's simple.
And who were some of the clients you had in the early days? What were some of the initiatives? How did you grow in those early days of the internet and of the agency?
Well, we started it well before Google started.
Yeah.
Overture, which was purchased by Microsoft and became Bing, was the first place you could buy traffic. We really worked in helping people build content on their site, help them. We did a lot of lead generation at the time. But we did, we created content, we did lead generation, we did a little bit of early days of Overture and early paid search. But we were doing what was called really affiliate marketing at the time, right from day one. I had customers almost immediately just because I'd done work in the space. Nobody really knew anything. So I'd walk in and I thought, they thought I knew something, so they'd hire me. And so we just started doing it, but we started doing affiliate programs literally as early as they started. And that's kind of evolved in what's now called partner and affiliate. But the key component of that, it was performance based so that you wouldn't pay anybody for doing anything until a sale occurred. And that obviously has very high interest. Everybody would like to hire a whole team of commission only salespeople. So it became really, really strong, popular, particularly in the retail space. So we continue to focus on the retail space. And over the years, we just kept adding services. We were big in the affiliate partner marketing space. Then we got into paid search and we got into Facebook marketing, and now we do Amazon marketing for customers. And so, and part of our umbrella company is we have a research company, so we can do all kinds of high level market research, whatever they're looking for. We're doing political research right now, just not that we have any politicians as customers, but we're doing the research just to show our capabilities in that forum. So again, our capabilities have expanded over the years, and we keep finding customers that like to grow their businesses.
And did you start specializing in retail? Was that sort of the first vertical you got your head around, or were you spread across?
Yeah, we really kind of ended up in retail, almost. I did a lot of lead generation early on because they didn't have the same kind of tools for retail. So we were doing a lot of lead generation for brands that are now gone, like Business 2.0, which was an online and printed magazine, and they were, we were helping them grow their lead basis. We did it for a company called SocialNet, again, long gone, but that was the guy Paul Allen venture, Vulcan Venture. So they put a lot of money in that. We were doing lead generation and doing their affiliate program, and so we did a lot of lead generation initially. But I always felt comfortable in retail. My business life started out in retail. I actually sold men's clothes while I was in college and ran a men's clothing store, and really liked retail. So I've been to New York. I've been to all the buying and done all that, seen all that, and I really like that space. And so I just kind of naturally went, and it also lends itself to the affiliate channel very well. So again, retail was a conscious effort, and then in hindsight, looking back at 20 years of doing this, the e-commerce space, retail online e-commerce, has gone up 15 to 18% every year minimum for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so, as you see the number of people buying online increasing, and you're seeing it even now. What you're going to see is a really big bump in online buying through Instacart and Grubhub and all the delivery guys, but you're going to see, subject to supply chain interruptions, which we're expecting too, you're going to see foot traffic down in all the retail stores, which we haven't seen any stats on that yet. I've been looking for it, but you're going to see more and more people are going to do e-commerce, to the point that e-commerce guys are now doing non-touch delivery. So they'll actually drop your groceries off, ring your doorbell, and leave, so you don't really have to touch another human being. But e-commerce is going to be a big boom from this. Now, for some of the wrong reasons, of course, but e-commerce has been a really continuous march for 20 years since I've been in it. And so sometimes you're looking at something, you just that's a good fortune I had of being in the retail space that has grown so dramatically over the last 20 years.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so you think e-commerce is going to keep growing? It's not slowing down at all?
No, it's continuing to grow. What you're going to see is more omni-channel, multi-channel activity. So you're going to see the Targets of the world making it easier for you to buy online, pick up a store, buy online, get it delivered to you. Go to the store, they don't have the size, get it, the store ships it to you. All this multi-channel, omni-channel stuff. Walmart's doing it. Amazon has got some stores. In fact, in our building in Denver, we have an Amazon store on the first floor. Really interesting. So you're seeing the guys that are failing in the retail space. Typically, one of the major reasons you look back is they have terrible websites. They're not investing enough resources in that. They're getting run over by much more agile, direct, only online. And so, they're adapting faster, they're innovating faster than these stores. And you're seeing American Eagle, you're seeing one of our really good customers, but I didn't think were really going to be impacted, was a company called Performance Bike. They had 110 stores, high-end bikes, had a huge online presence, but they never figured out how to make money doing both. And so you saw them go, die. So you're seeing the companies that really haven't adapted to online are starting to really fall off. You're seeing Nordstrom's investing heavily in online. You're seeing Walmart investing heavily. You're seeing, obviously, they're competing against Amazon that has got more investment in e-commerce and fulfillment than all of them combined. And of course, their stock value shows that. So again, yes, somebody actually did that. They thought Amazon was going to grow 25% annually for the foreseeable future. Amazon is already 38% of all online e-commerce sales. So if they're going to continue to grow 25%, what does Walmart have to do? What does Target have to do to even keep pace? So the level of innovation and what they're doing and how people are starting to support the online is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, Amazon really is establishing themselves as they're the leader and they're the one to keep up with. That's been clear for a long time.
Yeah, and they're really difficult to work with.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's straightforward, but it's really hard. I don't think we need to get in the nuances of them competing against their own customers, but it's a very interesting platform to work with, and we're really excited to do it because it's just another learning thing, another thing we have to learn. Learning is a key component of our entire business. Is we learn new stuff all the time.
That's awesome. So I'd like to talk a little bit about CBD marketing, because that seems to be a specialty that eAccountable has gotten into, and you're quite well versed in. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on CBD marketing, and particularly the trends you're seeing. I know that affiliate marketing is a big part of how CBD brands market themselves online, but it seems that there are companies every day there are people who are starting CBD brands every day. It's getting more and more crowded and tougher to sort through, what's good quality product and where to get it. So can you talk a little bit about how you built your CBD vertical and eAccountable and how you service those clients?
As in a lot of things in life, it was serendipity that we ended up with a customer, and they ended up being the biggest, best CBD brand. Not the best, the biggest one, and arguably one of the most advanced out there. And they were there early. They're doing a lot of things right. They're really doing a great job. Their whole effort on compliance is impeccable. And so that was our first exposure, was really customer that taught us a lot on how to be best practices within the CBD space. And as people have seen, that's who we're working with. And I don't know that we need to say who it is, but it's just the biggest one in the space right now. And as they saw who we were working with, they saw that we were working with them, heard about it. We started getting more and more calls on CBD brands. So we, within that, have seen every kind of growth and failure, kind of craziness that is inherent right now in the CBD. And we know less about the cannabis space because we deal with product that can be shipped across state lines typically. So we deal less in the cannabis space, but it's still kind of that, it's a little bit of the wild, wild west. It's the way the internet was 27 years ago, 20 years ago, and it continues in certain categories like CBD and cannabis or cannabis adjacent products to today. But we've seen a little bit of everything, and you know the you know it's really an interesting space. You know, I believe in the product. Um, you know, but there are a lot of naysayers that say the product isn't anything. But we've been in the supplement space for as long as we've been in business, meaning selling vitamins and fish oil and all that stuff. And we never made that judgment. If people, the anecdotal information we get on the CBD space is overwhelmingly
Yeah.
positive, unbelievable. And there can't just be mass hysteria. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There's something about it. Yes, we haven't studied it. Is it, you know, an effect that we don't really understand? Is it additive to your life? Yeah, I'm not a scientist. That isn't my thing. But there's a lot of stuff that, you know, eating chocolate makes you feel better. Okay. So if this makes you feel better, you ought to keep doing it. And so let's not get any more involved about making that kind of judgment. But, you know, we believe in, you know, brand and brand quality and compliance and, you know, really working with guys that do a really good job of controlling quality throughout the entire process. And that's who we find. But it is, I would say right now, it's really, really hard to establish a brand. Um,
Yeah.
and that's the part that a lot of these guys don't understand. I think early on, you could literally open a store and start selling them tomorrow. It was that easy online. I mean, somewhat easy online. But now that they find that really brand building is the key, and that's really hard work, expensive, hard work.
So when you first started working with this brand, was it before the Farm Bill? And what I want to get at is, in terms of your agency, what was the biggest learning curve, or what you would say is step one in terms of getting into CBD marketing? Was it really understanding compliance, or was it more what channels work for CBD brands? And I know this is evolving quickly as this industry has grown quite fast over the last few years.
We've been in the CBD space 3.5 years, so it's before the Farm Bill.
Hmm.
Um, so it was all kind of, you know, one of those hazy legal places that, you know, they seemed to be ignoring at the time. And again, the first customer we went with, you know, they were very, very, you know, you'd almost say conservative. They weren't conservative people at all, but they really took a very conservative approach to compliance and what they were saying and any claims, and they were making sure they weren't making any undue claims. So that's how we came out. We came out, you know, being compliant. That's really all we knew, and that's kind of been one of the things we've stuck with. So we came in before the Farm Bill, and we thought that we'd easily be able to get this customer and future customers into Google, Facebook, and Amazon. We have tested all of that, and of course, you can't do that right now. So the only real channel that's been available where you can get traffic is through partners. Now you can build SEO, you can build your own content, and you can get it ranked. But what we found is these partners, these publishing partners like Canna Review, Remedy Reviews, Canna Insider. There's all kinds of these guys that have been out there writing about cannabis and CBD for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And they're getting all those top spots in search on anything you can think of and CBD and cannabis because they've been writing about it for years. And they've been writing good content. These are guys that really do know what they're doing. And so those are the guys then that we went after to become partners and pay a performance metric for them doing. So this was really one of the few channels that you could get up every day and drive traffic. You know, we're still not sure why. We know that Google, Facebook, and Amazon are testing within the CBD and hemp space, but we still haven't seen any broad release. Yet you can find Sephora products in the Google product feed coming up in search. if you do a CBD search, you'll find they'll pull in Google ads. Now it's from retailers that aren't CBD only. It's Vitamin Shop. It's, Sephora just announced with Lord Jones, and they're putting a test in to 240 stores or something like that. They're coming out with kind of a brand that's specifically for Sephora customers by Lord Jones. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, and you'll actually can find Sephora has also other products that have CBD in it, beauty products, lotions, topicals that they're doing. So we're seeing some effort that some topicals are showing up. But again, if you've got a big enough paid search catalog and you don't push CBD in any advertising, you can have it show up in your Google feed and it'll show up in search. So if you're a 100% CBD company like Charlotte's Web, CB Distillery, Lord Jones, Sunday Scaries, you're not getting any, you can't go buy the traffic. So it's really an incredibly complex issue. And we're trying to guide our customers throughout all that. But obviously our hope is that we'll be able to do paid search, paid Facebook and Amazon, so we can really help our customers grow. Because right now, the only place we can help them is other than SEO, is in the partner affiliate space.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen that space change at all? And, I've been hearing that from a paid search perspective, Google's starting to allow, or Facebook is starting to allow topical ads. Right. Have you been seeing that as well?
Yeah, it looks like they're taking a few tests. I don't know. None of our customers have asked us really to go try to figure out Facebook. They'd rather wait for Google and Amazon. Facebook's top of the funnel typically. Not that that's a bad thing. It's really good. And it's inexpensive, relatively inexpensive. But so none of our customers really asked us to do that. And I know they've been testing off and on, but like a lot of these guys, they'll test and all of a sudden you're turned off. Amazon in particular. I've seen stuff show up that's CBD and then a week later it's gone. We've been really careful about not getting our customers in any trouble with any of those guys waiting for the long term. I keep telling everybody it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And if you try to go out and do something, you may end up getting blocked and never get back in. Amazon in particular is really tough. If you go against their terms and services with a product that they have banned at the time they do, even if it becomes available, they still may not let you in. And then, so the risk of doing that is fairly onerous. So again, we've been kind of taking the conservative side, but we have been testing, and we are having some success for short periods of time. So we know it's going to work. Those channels are going to work. It's just kind of really difficult to keep it on an ongoing basis where it really makes it financially. We can track it, manage it, grow it, like we do most of our retail customers. So again, it's pretty tricky.
Can you talk about Amazon's terms of service and some of the best practices for selling through them?
Well, right now, if you have a website that's purely hemp, it has no reference to CBD, no CBD on the labels, you can get hemp into Amazon. And so best practices are you can do that. There's really not a big issue with hemp-only products. But people are not looking for hemp, they're looking for CBD.
Right.
And so the conversions aren't nearly the same. So you can do all you want. And the other thing is there's so much hemp out there that is literally salad oil. Charlotte's Web did a study, and they pulled 13 hemp products from Amazon, and they basically had no CBD in them at all, much less hemp. They were just, so they're probably coming from a foreign country, and they didn't care. They were just trying to get on the bandwagon. So again, the quality and some of the stuff you can buy on Amazon, it can be very, very low, and the good guys are just going to have to wait it out and educate the consumers about what's good and what's not. Again, they're getting, you've seen the stuff. There's pesticide in this stuff. There's just a mess. And again, that's that wild, wild west mentality. And guys are, cranking up and going, finding something that looks like or smells like CBD, and they're putting it on or they're labeling it under hemp. It's showing up on Amazon, but they're not going to be long-term players. The FDA, FCC, FTC will find them eventually. It's the whole thing with the vape pens. Somebody was selling those vape pens that ended up having whatever that vitamin D,
vitamin E acetate,
vitamin E, yep, and kill people. Well, I don't know that the stuff that's being marketed as hemp, but it's who knows? It's got pesticides in it. It could kill you over time if you keep taking it. So again, the whole industry's got to come together, figure this out. We got to police the bad guys. Regulation is, to a certain extent, is a good thing because we can get some of the bad guys out.
So, do you work with your clients on content marketing strategy as well? I know there is a lot of misinformation out there about CBD, and there is generally a lack of consumer knowledge about I don't think many people would know the difference between hemp and CBD, and that they are not one and the same, but that CBD can be a part of hemp if, extracted correctly. So do you work with them a bit on content marketing and educating their customers, and how important is that in terms of the marketing funnel?
It's very important. And we definitely have helped in the content space. We've got a couple of writers that write in the cannabis space, cannabis and CBD space. They're very knowledgeable of all what you can say and can't say, the difference, the chemical differences between cannabis and CBD. And my guys who work on it day to day, they know it, because when we start with a customer, we think of affiliates as super consumers. And so we actually build a welcome kit that we send out when we recruit all the partners. We tell them what they can and can't say. We also give them, even though they're in the space, we give them educational points. Why is, you're not going to get high with CBD. It's not going to cure cancer that we know of. So, we got all this misinformation out there, and there were some of the, particularly early on, or actually still, there are people making claims on their websites about, cures cancer, removes epilepsy, or they're still saying that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, one, you can't make that claim. There's no studies right now that support it. I mean, no large-scale studies are supported, approved by the FDA. So you've got to really do the content just as a real simple, try this and see what you find. And so it's been really hard. I mean, I think consumer misinformation is one of the reasons why CBD's not more widely accepted right now. Maybe that's why, even though I think the numbers are getting better all the time. I have a 13-and-a-half-year-old dog and a 91-year-old mother. My 91-year-old mother loves CBD.
Yeah.
She's been taking it for 3 years, and she is trucking around, walking for 40 minutes a day, and she says she has less arthritis pain than she had before. I can't use that, no matter, she thinks, and it's her anecdotal information, but I can't use that. I can't put that in content. I can't even let that on the site as a review. So all these things you've got to do. It's all compliance. It's all about, you got to be smart about what you're doing. We set up a lot of review platforms for our customers. So because reviews are a huge deal in retail. And so one of the things we do is we manage the reviews that come in, and we literally have to, talk to these people with all this anecdotal information. You have to talk them off the cliff. They can't say this stuff. We have to ask them that they remove that information from their review. Now, again, we didn't generate the review, the customer did, but we still have to manage the content that shows up on the website as if it's our content.
Right.
So it's again, is that part of content marketing? Yes, I think it is. So yes, we do help in that also.
So if you don't mind me asking, does your mother use tinctures or capsules? What works for her and what does she like?
She does tinctures, yeah, and
Yeah,
my dog does capsules,
nice.
and my wife does gummies.
And what about you?
I do topicals.
Nice.
Yeah, I've taken the tincture. I hated the taste,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find one that tasted good. And then I took capsules for 90 days. I didn't feel any different, but I like the topicals. Uh, I use the topicals every day virtually. I
Mhm.
play golf, I exercise, and I've always got a little twitch or pain, and put that stuff on there, and it works great. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Nice. I'm glad to hear it.
We
So,
do have a company that has the best tasting gummies in the world. They're in the cannabis space as well. And so I don't need to plug them, but the best tasting gummy in the cannabis space, we're managing their CBD program. It's the best tasting CBD gummy there is.
uh-huh. And it's fully CBD, no THC in it?
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Are they here in Colorado?
they're here in Colorado. Yes, they are.
That's exciting.
Their CEO wins all kinds of awards as female entrepreneur.
Yes.
Very great. Yeah, so we've had really great, we've got some really great companies we work with, which really makes it fun. We're seeing them grow, expand, go through all that difficulty of getting bigger. So it's really been fun to be there helping all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love working in this space. It's
Yeah.
a startup industry with a lot of exciting and passionate founders, and I think we're still in the very early stages.
Yeah,
Um,
we've got our first CBD, what we call CBD, I'm sorry, cannabis adjacent. And they are actually a cannabis service product in that they've been at it for about 2 years, but they help people get medical marijuana licenses online. And then they have a second service that they
get their
basically
car, like get patients get
your
their
medical
cards.
marijuana. Yeah, so you don't have to go into some place, but they have a medical doctor review the application and approve it. So it's by state, doctors within the state that have been authorized to do this. And then they also will do consulting, on the phone consulting with the doctor who will you can go through your list of things that you'd like to, that you're dressing in your lifestyle, whatever, and they'll tell you some of the best practices on uh, testing cannabis for yourself.
Mhm.
So we call it cannabis adjacent. They don't sell anything, but we're selling the service level, and that's been really really fun because they're really growing, doing well, and we just started their partner program a couple of months ago, and it's doing quite well.
And by
And they're
cannabis,
moving to Denver too, so
they're in Denver.
yeah, they just moved their company to Denver.
Nice. Yeah, Denver's we're in the center of
Yeah,
things. It's
yeah,
exciting. And so by cannabis adjacent, do you mean ancillary products and
yeah,
services or
exactly, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
they're servicing the cannabis, and you can do the same thing with a doctor with CBD. So you can ask him, I don't want to really take a psychoactive, so tell me a CBD product that would be good for these issues. So you can do both CBD or cannabis.
And
There's
all
primarily
online.
cannabis. Excuse me?
And this is all online with this service?
Uh, the consulting is they actually talk to a doctor,
Gotcha. That makes
medical professional. Yeah.
so that's a perfect segue because something I think we've seen is that CBD is the gateway to people using more THC based products or going from hemp and CBD to entering or becoming more comfortable walking into a dispensary and asking for products there. Is that a trend that you've been seeing in your work and in your marketing?
Yeah, I don't know that that's really anything we've really been tracking.
Mhm.
I think, we're seeing a lot of cannabis companies in the CBD market and vice versa. So probably because we've been so much on we work in the area where you can ship something to somebody. It's not really store oriented. That's really not our expertise so much. So I don't know that I really have any direct, I would say that sounds right. Um, I'm seeing some people are low. I tell you what, I know anecdotally from my experience, from my friends that are typically a little older and have been very resistant about changing, understanding cannabis and THC and what that means and how it does. And uh, I've seen them become less resistant to THC as they have taken CBD and enjoyed the results of that. So
Mm-hmm.
while they may not want to take a psychoactive THC or cannabis product, they're being more open to that discussion than they would have been in the past. So I think the value of CBD is a door opener for some people to rethink this, whole cannabis experience we've gone through the last, since I was a kid. It has really been helpful, and I think part of the improving trends, poll trends with cannabis too.
And while we're talking about trends, who have you seen as the fastest growing segments, and who should companies be paying attention to as the new CBD consumer? I know in the cannabis space, women and baby boomers are growing quite rapidly. Have you seen anything similar from your perspective as well?
Yeah, I think that I see kind of a disconnect. It seems like the people that it seems like 40 plus people are buying it, and the people that are running these companies tend to be younger, and
Yeah.
so they don't, the big market is for people with the aches and pains over all the years that are 50, 60, 70, and they're the ones with the income to do it. And I think the younger people they'll go do cannabis. But in the CBD space, I think the market, and that's been borne out by polls research,
Right.
people that are taking it. So I think that as you look at these websites, it really changes maybe the way you should market. Um, and because you want to be inclusive, you don't want to miss the younger people that want to try it and find value because they just want to do that. And then but it's the older generation, I think, that's really driving a lot of the sales.
Hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So, what is the biggest challenge that you face in digital marketing with CBD? Is there sort of one, this is our biggest pain point that you encounter as an agency?
Yeah, it's very, let me say this in a nice way, very minimal understanding of e-commerce in general. Now that's,
With your clients?
yeah, terrible websites, ugly, don't work, not mobile sensitive. You can't order subscription. Just things that just you go. Well, we passed on people because their sites are so bad, and they
Yeah.
weren't committed to upgrading their site. When we can send traffic to your site, but if it doesn't convert, then you're not making any money. We're not making any money together. So we've that's been the number one. Now, to exacerbate that, there aren't. You look at a lot of websites around the country, and they're not very good. But they're in a business where there's a known need, but in this, when you're so competitive and you're trying to build a brand, you've really got to have a great website. You have to have reviews. You have to have loyalty. And there are only a couple, really only a few, I think, really fun, strong websites in the space. Um, and not very many of them are with our customers. And our customers are doing well, but we're with one customer, and we're doing a whole redo of their website because it was one is they're in the cannabis space too, and they're growing and they're going national, so their resources are going to that because they know they're going to make money. So the CBD stuff is kind of falling off their radar, so we're going out and doing it, and so we're going to end up redoing their website because it's just not very good. And but we've had some of our biggest customers. I don't think their websites are very good. Now they haven't asked me, but I would tell them if they did.
Yeah.
But there are a bunch of really good websites out there. I think CB Distillery just love their site. Um, their unboxing experience when you get a product is superior.
Hmm.
Um, I've always liked Sunday Scary's website. Uh, I never liked Lord Jones, but it sold for $300 million. So, I think, but it's also, the problem is exacerbated because there are not a lot of good e-commerce guys out there in the United States that are available. And so when you go start somebody, you're getting somebody that's maybe done a WordPress site, and then they all of a sudden, oh, let's do WooCommerce because it's cheap. And, that's not the best way to go because, we have a bunch of enterprise customers and none of them use WooCommerce. There's a reason for that. It's not scalable like Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, and other things are. So, and then you got whole design issue, and the design, the user experience is usually bad. They're not capturing emails when somebody comes to the site. They're not doing emails after they've been to the site and did or didn't buy. I mean, just on and on and on. How little they really understand e-commerce, and that's really been one of the biggest things we've dealt with.
So the foundation is good design, good e-commerce, and then that allows you to really scale and help them market in a way that is effective.
Well, you have to take advantage of the traffic when it gets to the site. And so
Yeah.
if you don't do that, all the traffic we can drive, particularly when you start doing paid traffic, it's one thing to get partners, but even the partners now understand that if they don't like the website, they're not going to send you any traffic. They're not going to write a review about you. You better have a great product. You better have good brand. You better have a good logo. You better have, the site needs to have a great user experience, content on the site, visuals on the site, all have to be really good. And if you don't do that, the traffic that comes to your site is not going to convert. Then we all lose.
That makes sense. Okay, well, before we wrap up, I just have a few last questions. So one of the things you had mentioned was that it's really difficult to build a brand in the CBD space. And I think part of that is because it is getting so competitive and the differentiators aren't as clear. Why is your tincture better than the 400 other ones I see on the shelf or online? Can you speak a little bit about what you see from a brand perspective that is important, or that companies need to consider in the early stages?
Yeah, we're not brand guys. I mean,
Yeah.
and so it's a really tough question for all the things you just said. How do you differentiate product and all that? And they're all trying to find these little this, that, or the other, and some of them are compelling, some are not. And so it's really hard. And so, but we kind of think, and the other thing that makes it hard is you can't test it. So
Right.
one of the good things when you've got Google and you've got Facebook and you've got Amazon, you can go test your own BS. You tell me this works better, this works better, but if you can't drive traffic to it on a consistent basis, no one knows. So we're more on the test side, and since we can't do, we know if we drive enough traffic to a site through Google, as an example, we can test what works with the consumer, and we can help you get your message better, stronger. But when you can't do that, and you're relying on partners, your own SEO content, or getting lucky and going viral on something, which is really hard, hard to do. It's really makes it hard to do a brand. So all you can do really then is study your competitors and take the best of what they're doing, emulate it, differentiate yourself with a combination of imagery, content, and the whole feeling. And some of it is also customer service. You get a sale, you better turn that person into a lifetime value. If you don't, then you've lost that opportunity. So again, it's a very tricky space, and we had a really interesting meeting with the guys that had some or have a, we're hoping to get hired by them. They're in the process of finishing out their production facilities in Oregon, and they picked a brand design firm. Just blew my brain. They showed me some of their work. I just went, perfect. I mean, they picked a design firm, brand management company that I'd not seen anything like it in the CBD space. Now it's not going to be cheap, but the other alternative. And these guys had dough, but I mean the alternative is you go out there without a strategy, and you're going to, how do you compete then? It's going to be hard. So again, it takes the whole thing. It
Right.
takes money, and it's going to get more expensive to break into the market as Google opens up, because the big guys, Charlotte's Web and CB Distillery and all these big guys are going to have plenty of dough to spend when paid search, paid Amazon, paid Facebook open up. And so, that's kind of what you got to do, I think, to really do. You got to have good e-commerce knowledge, background, and you got to have a really strong branding position. And the branding position is, I think, that yes, it needs to be differentiating. It needs to be, unique. But sometimes you can sell really good product in the same category just because you've got a better message, better delivery, and you're able to handle a conversion and the post conversion with the customer in a way that delights and keeps them a high lifetime value. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dirk. Any last words you would like to say or mention?
No, I appreciate them. We try to be involved in a couple of associations and learn more all the time, and it's it's a rapidly expanding and growing market. I think the market will be even stronger, which I was really hoping that cannabis would get descheduled before or by the election. I don't know where that is, though there's a whole long process on shipping it across state lines. There's all kinds of stuff that the whole, backlog of the intellectual backlog that we got to deal with. I go to other states, and I mean, they're just clueless about THC. Being in Colorado, we think the rest of the country is like Colorado in understanding the issues and how you live and how people aren't getting run over by cars and aren't driving high and killing anybody. And I think the state of Colorado has done a great job of taking some of the money and looking at education, and we haven't seen any increase in children using marijuana above what it was before, which is an amazing thing. And so Colorado's really done a lot of things, and I think the idea that cannabis is not nearly as bad as drinking alcohol. And if you had a picture, my wine bottles are in the back there.
Yeah.
But again, it's like this shouldn't be an issue, but it's in this collective consciousness of 70 years of war on drugs that just we can talk about how wasteful that was in human lives and everything, but it's going to take a while to get to the point where we can have a rational conversation with some people about it.
It will. It will. Well, thank you. And please tell our listeners how they can find you or learn more about eAccountable.
It's Dirk Price, just Dirk, and it's spelled DURK at eAccountable.com. That's accountable with an E on front, .com. And we're in Denver, Colorado, and in the Cherry Creek area. Stop by and visit us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dirk. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Well, thanks, Lisa.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Did you like this video? Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. You can learn more at thecannabismarketingassociation.com and find us on social media at Canna Marketing and at Cannabis Marketing Summit. And don't forget to buy tickets to our annual virtual Cannabis Marketing Summit this June.